Winners and losers of the MLB offseason. We're not going to cover every single team because some of them are just simply boring and don't matter, but me and James are going to go through our biggest winners and losers of the 2026 MLB offseason as we head into spring training. Before we get going into it, make sure you guys are subscribed to the Windup for more baseball content. Big shout out to all of our members getting access to the videos early. And I think that's pretty much it for the intro spiel. I think we're going to have podcasts coming soon. That's just going to be a little hint to you guys. It's going to be coming soon. Keep an eye out for that. But I think we got to start with a winner here, James, right?
Yeah, of course. Like, do you want to go boring winner or do you want to go more fun winner?
Let's go boring winner, get it out of the way. Let's talk about like one of the obvious ones, and then we can start to have a little more fun.
Okay, the Dodgers, boring winner. Like, you have to kind of put them on there. Signing Kyle Tucker and Edwin Diaz. Like, going out of the last season, I know the Dodgers are off back-to-back World Series, but you would have said their weaknesses are probably corner outfield and closer. And now they got one of the best closers in the league, one of the best corner outfielders in the league, covered both their holes, and that's just kind of it.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that they got better. And they did. They're just simply a better team than they were last year. And to be fair, last year they were down to their final outs before, possibly winning the World Series when Miguel Rojas saved the entire season out of absolutely nowhere. But yeah, the Dodgers got better. They're the clear favorite. Adding Kyle Tucker's going to be so good. I know that we talked about it a lot when the move happened, but I don't think it's being talked about enough now. He's going to be unbelievably good in that team. Like, if he's healthy, you're going to see 30 and 100 with like an OPS and 900.
Oh, totally. And we did talk about it last year that the Dodgers corner outfielders literally were not good. I think I have the stat here for their entire outfield in general. Cumulatively, every single batter that took a plate appearance and played the outfield for the Dodgers last year had a 240 batting average, 299 on base percentage, and 714 OPS. That is Lourdes Gurriel.
And a lot of that's carried by Andy Pages, who played great for a good chunk of the season, and still his numbers were good at the end of the year. But yeah, like Michael Conforto was on that team. He was unplayable at times.
And also, it was a very casual, even just 4 runs per game in the playoffs. And that included the 3 home run game by Ohtani and like one offensive explosion, basically every single series, but not really being able to just sustain. Like, I don't know. I don't want to give the Dodgers credit for this, but like that was a genuine need for them, is getting a corner outfielder. And they did get one, whatever. Good for them.
And Edwin Diaz now is the closer, and he's the best closer in baseball, in my opinion. So it just sucks that he goes to the Dodgers.
Top 3.
Yeah, who would be the 2 that you'd consider ahead of him? Mason Miller.
I think for sure Mason Miller and Joan Duran.
Okay, Duran, interesting. Did you see Duran was not in the top 10 closers according to MLB Network's Shredder right now rankings?
I don't know why we still talk about the Shredder. It seems like they just make things up for engagement. That thing, like
the MLB Network people seem to even be getting mad at it. I think Matt Vasgersian went off. He's like, "How does this even work? This doesn't make any sense."
He's like, "Give me a real algorithm here." But the Dodgers they're a clear winner.
Definitely a winner. I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna give you a loser.
Mm-hmm.
Loser of the offseason, I think the Philadelphia Phillies got to be a loser, right? Mega loser, especially
my first listed team.
Yeah, not just on the field, but off the field loser too. The fact that Dave Dombrowski called out Bryce Harper for not being elite enough last year, or not being an elite player, which we've kind of joked about on this channel multiple times, and people get that's a fun word to get people with Bryce Harper with. But Bryce Harper, we saw going into spring training today, and he brings it up to the media.
Again.
Like, this clearly is a problem. And for a team that has failed miserably in terms of their success to try and win a World Series, every year they get stopped by somebody. They're not going far. And then to have all the Nick Castellanos news come out, along with the fact that this team is not better than it was last year. Talk about a loser offseason.
I was going to talk about the Castellanos thing as it tied into this. Matt Gelb did some amazing reporting on this Castellanos situation for The Athletic, and it seems like there was a lot of things that he had held on to for the last few months, but was basically just waiting for him to finally be off the team, which seemed to be a foregone conclusion to every single person involved, I guess besides us on the outside, where the big thing that came out is that the first time that he got pulled for defense late in the game, he grabbed a beer and drank it in the dugout, which is like...
Can't do that.
Absolutely cannot do that. And then another thing came out, which was I think the most stark thing that Gelb reported on this, is that Castellanos basically, while the whole time he's been on this team, has been telling every single other person that he doesn't respect both his manager, Rob Thompson, and their hitting coach, Kevin Long, because they never played Major League Baseball. And you can only respect people that, I think the quote was, put on the cleats.
Which is crazy because Kevin Long is considered to be one of the best hitting coaches of the last 20, 30 years in baseball. He's been a huge reason why the Yankees were so good in the 2000s. He was a big part of the 2009 World Series push. He was with the Mets when they made the World Series. He went to the Nationals. He went to he's been all over the place. Good hitters come out of Kevin Long out of nowhere.
And the Phillies, this whole kind of last era of the Phillies kind of got pushed forward and birthed by switching from Joe Girardi to Rob Thompson in the middle of that 2023 season.
Nick Plummer.
Yeah, so the Nick Plummer game, but it's all that is very strange and very weird, and it kind of gets back to something that weirdly, like, these teams sometimes it feels like doesn't communicate with their players well enough.
Yeah.
Like, there should be a meeting with Nick Castellanos in March. He is a veteran. You have him to a $100 million contract. He's been a part of your team for a while now. Be like, hey, we think that possibly a time this year we're going to start replacing you for defense. Like,
Yes.
this is how you've been regarded the last few years defensively. We all know, we're being adults about this.
We've
You're not
watched you
great
play
there.
the game.
You're coming off 2 really bad seasons in a row. You know you are. That's just something that's going to do. If you can prove something in camp, if you can play better, things will change. Things are always going to be fluid. But you got to be open with these guys about stuff. It seems like they communicated that poorly. Castellanos didn't act well when it happened to him, and it's just the whole thing was a disaster.
I mean, Dave Dombrowski, I don't think, played the game, so you think Castellanos would even care if he told him?
Probably
like,
not.
at that
I
point?
don't think so.
It just feels like, and maybe Castellanos was a dark cloud around the Phillies, and that's why things felt weird at the end of the season, and that things that haven't clicked almost ever for this squad together. But to then just run it back without Nick Castellanos, with Adolis Garcia, who has been horrible for 1,200 plate appearances, still don't have a center fielder, lost Ranger Suarez, Zach Wheeler might not be there. The bullpen, you got rid of one of your better bullpen arms the last few years in Matt Strahm. I don't necessarily know how this team is better than they were last year, and in fact, I do think they're worse.
I think that bullpen is still really good, and we're going to see that bullpen hold them up really well over like the kind of 50-50 low-scoring games that always happen over the course of a season. And you do have to think that I know the Wheeler situation is weird, and they let Ranger Suarez walk. Didn't seem like they were very involved in his market. A contract that we didn't really like, so it's hard to hold that super against them. But also this year clearly makes them a step worse. But they seem so confident about Zach Wheeler. We're like, I have to kind of take their cue on that, and the confidence in not getting other pitchers. Like, maybe they just lost out in that market. They even signed Brad Keller, and they said they're not going to try and convert him back to starting. They must just really be confident in Andrew Painter.
Must be, yeah.
A few years ago, Andrew Painter was regarded as the top pitching prospect in baseball. He was going to make his major league debut at 20 years old if he didn't blow out his arm, and wound up missing 2 years after UCL complications. So you got to think if it's Sanchez, Wheeler, Luzardo, Painter, Nola, that could still be one of the 3 or 4 best rotations in baseball if it clicks. But you don't have the depth behind it, which is why they're a loser.
And that's also what makes it dangerous, is that it feels like if it clicks, if this happens, that you don't want that going into a season for a team who is objectively trying to win a World Series, and they have been for the last few years. You can't point at any decision and say that made that Phillies a better team for 2026.
And totally got swept under the rug. They went so hard after Bo Bichette and made it so public how hard they went after Bo Bichette, to the point where when he signed with the Mets, they were basically making posts from their not official team account social media, but NBC Sports Philly, who puts their games on, was making comments about how they're going to boo Bo because he left them at the altar, where they still have a third baseman and a second baseman.
Yeah.
So like that's another weird vibe thing going to the season. So I do wonder where they are, and I think that they're a team that could look like last year's Braves, where if something goes wrong early, or last year's Orioles, they could be the team that is shockingly bad midseason. You're like, how that's happened to the Phillies?
It's crazy. You get a bunch of frat bros together and they're just not going to click. What happened?
That was funny because we just did the floor video, and I do think that I argued for their floor to be a bit lower than you did.
Yeah,
I was like,
I still think they're a playoff team.
I still think they're a playoff team too, but I'm just saying they are. If something happens bad, like
the Bryce Harper comments make me the fact they brought him up again. That there's a weird vibe now.
Taking their confidence on Wheeler is a cue, whatever. But I don't know how much they can weather a storm if multiple things go wrong.
Yes, that's fair. They have no depth.
All right, another winner. Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, I agree. Although we did see Framber look pretty fat in his video that came out recently.
Fine. No biggie.
Jersey looked tight. Hey, maybe it's because it's a different color jersey. It's looking a little bit different. But yeah, I do think they're a winner in terms of teams in the American League Central. They solidified themselves as the best team in the AL Central. I know you've been trying to pump up your Royals all offseason, but the Tigers now are...
Yeah, they blew past them at the end.
Blew past them, especially with Framber Valdez. And the fact that their team is still really good. They made moves in the bullpen to make their team better. Even getting Justin Verlander for just some 90 innings, hopefully, throughout the year, like at the absolute worst. You'd be pretty happy about it with the young players that they have and the guys who are coming up. It does feel like the Tigers team is built to be better than they were last year, and they came really close to the ALCS last season.
The Verlander thing's a fun vibe. There was a good tweet that came out by one of their beat reporters. I don't remember if he was talking about McKinstry or if it was Parker Meadows or something, but they just saw Verlander at camp. They were like, "Hey, man, what are you doing here?" And he was like, I'm on the team.
I'm
like,
playing
what?
for the Tigers.
Yeah, it was just funny. But they just say this team has gotten very solid. Like we talked about a few times how great that Framber move is for their floor. Verlander as well. Like now now they have one of the deepest starting pitching units in the entire league. If you go SP 6, 7, 8, 9, like they're ready for battle. We talked about their bullpen a lot. Like this is just a very solid team who didn't really have any holes to plug, but now they're much more equipped to weather a storm. And if Kevin McGonigal's just like playing shortstop on April 12th, like now all of a sudden you're like, whoa, this could be a squad.
Yeah, Max Clark could maybe find his way up late in the season if he continues to mash and dominate like he has in the minors. Like there's a lot of moving pieces along with the additions that they brought in that just make you believe in this team as one of the winners of the offseason.
Don't sleep on Josue Briseño too.
That's your guy.
That boy's a bopper. And Hao Lee, our guy. We love Hao Lee in the windup.
Should I pick a loser here?
Yeah, we can keep alternating back and forth.
Loser. Where do I want to go with loser for this next one? I'm gonna go a little bit different here for a loser.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the Texas Rangers. I think mega loser.
Really?
I think that this is a team that last year we thought was playing unlucky, right? And some of the numbers told us that. Like it was kind of shocking that this team went 500 and they were projected to win 90 games based on like their Pythagorean thing or whatever that MLB.com does. So they played worse than they expected. And then they just kind of didn't get any better this offseason. Like they still have no starting pitching, and the starting pitching that they have is holding on by a thread. I know that this was an organization that made it public that they wanted to save money, but then they brought on Brandon Nimmo's contract just to prematurely get rid of Marcus Simeons. They cut Adolis Garcia. Like I feel like a lot of the moves that the Rangers made kind of didn't make any sense. And when you look back at this roster and the team, how are you going to have all these older veteran players and not try and make at least one more push to just run it back again when we know the vibes were horrible too? I hated it. I hated it from the Rangers.
I think that they would argue that they are making something of a push because of the Mackenzie Gore trade. Like you're trading your most recent first round draft pick to get a pitcher with helium that you hope can kind of take another step forward. I think that's something fun there. It is just, to me, I couldn't make them a firm loser because they just kind of hung out in the middle still.
And that's, to me, at least from my perspective, hanging out and doing nothing is a loser move. I guess Mackenzie Gore wasn't nothing, but like at the same time, he might be. There's a chance he might be.
There's a chance. I think they would also argue that, first of all, they're saving a few $1 million a year with Brandon Nimmo compared to Marcus Semien. So again, they would say that, and they would also say that they think Brandon Nimmo's a better hitter than Marcus Semien. Which true. I would agree with that. So now you say like Nimmo, Langford, Seager, and then we'll see what happens to the rest of this lineup. But like right there, it's like our top three got better offensively. So we hope that those three guys can help drag us around a little bit. And one more young pitcher who could take a step forward. That's what that is.
Yeah, for me, it was just they feel 500 to me, and you were 500 last year. Like, cool guys. I guess you're playing baseball this season. That seems what like the Rangers are doing. Loser move for a team that a few moves could have pushed them forward.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what's going on. Should I give another winner? Should I give a loser?
You give a loser because I need to give a winner.
Okay, true. The Milwaukee Brewers.
Like, you think they're a loser?
I can't. It sucks to name them a loser because we just know this is how the team operates. This is what they do. But you were last year of the regular season, you were the best team in baseball. You had home field advantage in the series you played against the Dodgers, and you traded your ace. And we don't know what's going to happen with Freddie Peralta's contract with the Mets. It does seem like there is a bit of momentum towards an extension. It doesn't even seem like it's that expensive either. And I know, again, you don't do that. You don't make those signings if you're them. But, like, I know also they backfilled their starting pitching depth well. They shipped Caleb Durbin to Boston to get Kyle Harrison and Shane Jerome. But it's just like they also signed Luis Rengifo now. I'm sure they're going to make him just be good because that's what they do. But it's just a Brewers team that we always say, it's like if there was a little bit more resource invested in this team, you could be a heavyweight. And we know there isn't, and we know there won't be, but it just kind of probably sucks from their fans' perspective to go into the season without Freddie, without making any huge additions, and just seeing if the Devil Magic can drag you to the division again.
Yeah, because like they'll probably make the playoffs again because there are good players. But it is the thing of this team. This team did, I think, objectively get worse on paper, like you said, for a team that had the most wins in baseball last year. Like you're never going to be a winner in the offseason. To me, they were more of the middle of the pack just because, I don't know, the Brewers, the Magic, like you mentioned, I kind of just believe that they'll end up being probably good again for no reason. But at the same time, it's hard to sell a fan base, baseball fans, that the Brewers had a good offseason when you traded your best pitcher.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And at a time when you went up against the Dodgers and it was very apparent on the field you were not good enough to play with them.
You said, take your foot off the gas.
I say you went back the other way. That kind of sucks from a competition standpoint.
Yeah, that definitely does. All right, my next winner, let me give a winner here. Boston Red Sox, clear, obvious winner for me. Pitching. They have so much pitching. It feels like even in a world where we know that second base and third base could be are their holes right now. That's where you have the question marks. I still just love how this roster's built. I think Wilson Contreras is going to be awesome in that lineup. I'm so excited to see what he's going to do in Fenway because he's mashed in Busch Stadium, which is not really the most hitter-friendly. Now you go to Fenway. Feels like we could see 30 and like 110 from him at the first base position. Plays great defense there. You have the young guys around. You brought in more arms around Garrett Crochet to help raise the floor again. Even guys like Johan Oviedo, who aren't like the most exciting names by any means. I think people around baseball kind of respected that move of just like, that's a good, smart move. You traded Justin Garcia, who has no room for a guy who can make an impact on your roster. Sonny Gray's great. Obviously, Crochet. The young pitching that they have. It feels like this is a very, very good team. I know I'm higher on the Red Sox than you, but in terms of, like, they were more active on the trade market than free agency.
Significantly.
But their trades were awesome. I loved every single trade that they made. I thought they had one of the best off seasons.
I think Durbin's really fun too. Again, we just talked about him. He's such a good defender. He also might play second, and Marcelo Meyer might play third. Like, I don't know if they've spoken openly about how that's going to shake out. Also, I'm still waiting on Christian Campbell. I still really like Christian Campbell. I think he will make an impact. This team, weirdly, it comes down to a lot of Trevor Story's health. It comes down to Wilyer Abreu step forward.
It's like the veterans.
It comes down to who Jaron Duran is. Of course, Roman Anthony just being Roman Anthony. But it's a fun group. I do just wish, and I have kept saying this to you, like, I could have made them a firm winner if they just got one more bat, if there's one more piece on this team. They just still feel a bat short. Like, I really just don't know what Cedar Rafaela ever will be at the plate. Like, also, if he's an 80 WRC plus guy, he's still solid. He's still going to be a plus player for them because of that defense. Again, maybe that's just what some teams are doing. Like, getting Caleb Durbin does cover both of those second and third positions. Now you just need one of Christian Campbell or Marcelo Meyer to play well. And then if you need one of them instead of both of them, that's a nice spot there. And Durbin also, he's probably better defensive shortstop than Meyer as well.
At short?
Yeah, if something happens to Trevor Story.
Yeah, unsure what Caleb Durbin's like at shortstop, to be honest. So I can't comment on that one. But
I know who's coming up more is that. But again, like you said, this pitching is obscenely it's talented. It's deep. It can take them very far away places.
And they're in a position too where, like, if they want to move on from a guy at the deadline, like, they're so loaded that it won't make a difference for them. So they could go out and get legitimately the best piece of the deadline too with the guys that they have.
Let's also just see about Roman Anthony's oblique, because sometimes oblique things are something that not stays with hitters, but some players are more prone to those kinds of soft core muscle strains than others. And if he's not in this lineup, like we saw at the end of last season,
it's different.
They can't hit. They just can't.
Different.
So
they can hit, but it's
kind of.
Wilson Contreras is a huge help.
It's a big help, but like they're probably going to the season with, I mean, even right now, just going by the steamer projections on Fangraphs, I'm looking at their roster resource. They're projected to have 4 regulars with under 100 WRC plus.
I don't like this. I don't like these projections because then you'll see some other teams like we look at the Guardians, who are going to always be a loser. I'm just going to jump ahead and say the Guardians are a loser of the offseason. But then you see a steamer projection. It's like, Will Brennan is not going to have a 95 WRC plus, guys. I'm telling you right now, there's no world where he's even close to a league average hitter.
I mean, no, of course not. But Trevor Story he's someone who's projected below. I think he'll be at league average.
Yeah, I think he's like 105 to 95.
And I think it's just like a guy was like Trevor Story. I can't wait for the 25 homers by just the 300 on base percentage. Like, where it's a very strange fusion of pieces in that offensive unit for the Red Sox. Pitching is amazing, but I also had the Guardians listed as a loser just because why not? Like, this is on paper, and it will not be this way because they have devil magic and they will always play better than the sum of their parts, but it's like a 75-win team on paper.
It's an embarrassing roster.
It's crazy bad.
It's the Maserati in the next to the trailer house or whatever.
And they've been non-committal in the first few days of camp about even Chase DeLauder's status on the opening day roster.
It's crazy. You're gonna play Angel Martinez again? He stinks.
I understand. I mean, Chase DeLauder's just like, I really hope he can stay healthy. You might as well just get the plate appearance he's going to make in the major leagues. Like, just keep him on the major league IL so he can at least get some real money in his pocket for once instead of all these years of getting this minor league salary. It's just, please, like CJ Kefas, Gabriel Arias. Like, I do like Manzardo a lot. George Valera, he could be an okay bat. But
yeah, I mean, like 3 years ago, if you told me about him, I was excited. He's still young, but like also at the same time, like the Guardians also really haven't done much hitting development recently of the guys that we have seen. So like, how do you even believe in any of the guys that they're bringing up?
I mean, I'm very excited for Joey Cantillo this year. I think he's going to be nice. I think Tanner Bybee will he'll come back being
he'll have his 3.8
pitcher.
ERA probably.
Yeah, last year was worse than he is, but I don't know if he's as good as he was 2 years ago. Gavin Williams is nice. Like, Slade Ciccone, that's a fine back-end starter. Like, I really love Logan Allen, but he'll be there and just, like, providing depth. Like, they have.
But notice what you've mentioned. No new names. These are all the guys that were here. And it's like, They had no business making the playoffs last year.
No, it wasn't a miracle that they did, and I give them the credit for doing it. But like again, I like Parker Messick as a depth guy. We might actually see a healthy Daniel Espino finally this year. I don't think he's going to be any good anymore, but like he's going to try to come back. Like Doug Nikhazy is a guy. Like Kobe Hallard's going to mix in the back of their rotation for 70 innings nobody asked for. It's like that's just what this team's going to be. The guy they got, who'd they get? With that trade they made. Oh, the guy they got for Bieber last year, Cal Steven, is probably going to be in AAA. Like he's nice. They're going to bring up his stuff a little bit. He might get a shot this year if there are more injuries. Like this team will have the same season they always have, which kind of to me makes them a loser.
Yes, and that's the ceiling is they get knocked out in the first round of the playoffs, which that's a fun build.
Can I do another winner?
Yeah, do another winner for me.
You guys are gonna love this one. Chicago Cubs, huge winner.
W, big winner.
Massive
Fly
winner
fly the W.
The Chicago Cubs might right now, truthfully, be the second best team in the National League. I think almost certainly they are. Again, we just did the video. They have the second highest floor in the entire National League. Like they do right now. They're a full step ahead of the Brewers after the way both those teams' off seasons went. Like the Cubs do have pitching depth, and they got a lot more, little sauce, a little more excitement sprinkled in with Edward Cabrera. Jackson Wiggins is going to be someone that comes up this year. Like Horton's really good.
Alex Bregman's a great addition.
Like Matthew Boyd and Tyone is like the stable vets. Like everyone in this lineup is just solid as hell. Like I don't know if anyone will be great, but everyone's going to be super solid. Like this is a very well constructed team, and just sneakily, we said this a few times, like just enough pieces into that bullpen to make it much better than when they went to last season. Like Phil Maton, he's not wowing anybody, but he's going to be a good reliever. Hunter Harvey, he could wow somebody, but he's probably going to get hurt. Thielbar was great for the second half last year. Jacob Webb's always had some stuff, but never had good results. Our boy Hobie Milner, they just picked up Shelby Miller. It's like I think he's going to be out the whole season.
You are shaking your laptop like crazy getting excited talking about the Cubs. That was like an earthquake.
Oh, nah, yeah. I was scrolling. I didn't even notice it. But like they're just solid. They're so solid across the board. Like there's no issues with this Cubs team at all. Like that's way better than you could have said heading into last season about.
Yeah, like we always joke about how their lineup is missing Kyle Tucker. Like, oh man, like this line, Kyle Tucker would be perfect for the Cubs lineup this year. But like Alex Bregman helps out a ton, and Michael Busch still mashes. I know some people are a little bit iffy on what Michael Busch is going to do this year, but maybe even a platoon with Tyler Austin might end up being the way to get Michael Busch to have those numbers again.
100%. Michael Busch is great, but it's just you got to knock a guy down when he never ever plays against same
exactly. And I think also like when you talk about that rotation and bullpen, it's all improved. This was a team that won 92 games, and it feels like they're a better team than they were last year. So that's a winner. How do you get much better?
That's it. Again, I think a guy like Bregman's how you get better. Like their defense is awesome too. Like this team's, I think that's something that gets overlooked a lot. And we just do all this kind of preseason stuff talking about these teams who could perform better or worse than we expect them to. This Cubs defense across the board is outrageously good. Like that's a nice thing to have. It's going to be a fun team to watch. I don't see what their ceiling could be against the Dodgers, but this team will have a great regular season.
We're about 20 minutes in now. I think people are either continuing on or going to click off. So I'm just going to say the Mets were a winner of the offseason. I think it's about time we talk about them.
Good timing on that one.
Yeah, because, I mean, the Mets, let's be honest, while it started like an absolute nightmare, losing Edwin Diaz, Pete Alonso in consecutive days, trading Brandon Nimmo, getting rid of Jeff McNeil, you then see all the moves that they bring in. Marcus Semien, while he is not the same player that he was a few years ago, and Brandon Nimmo will be a better hitter than I think Marcus Semien will be in 2026 for what the Mets need, Marcus Semien helps out more. Second base defense, get to being a league average hitter, he will be insanely valuable. They went out, they got Bo Bichette. Probably going to play third base. We've seen the videos, doesn't look great. A lot of time left. It's February 15th. We're not worried about that right now. We'll worry about that on March 26th. On February 15th, I feel good about Bo Bichette at third base. He's going to MASH. Juan Soto's still there. You're going to bring up Carson Benz. You trade for Luis Robert. How are we calling it? What are we saying? Robert. We trade for Luis Robert. We got Freddie Peralta. Devin Williams was brought in. Like, you can look at first base and say the Mets got worse. I forgot Jorge Polanco, but you could say Jorge Polanco's worse than Pete Alonso, right? You could make an argument there, but then Bo Bichette's better than what we've been having. Luis Robert is better in center field than what we've had, and I think there's a much higher ceiling than we've ever had for guys in center field. Freddie Peralta, talk about bringing in a frontline starter that the Mets desperately needed. There was a lot of stuff that went out, but I don't know if the Mets were ever going to be better than what we saw in 2024 with the same group of guys. And it's nothing against them, but how many times can we keep running back the same gang and expecting a different outcome? That's kind of what the Phillies are doing. And what do you know? It hasn't worked at all with even better players than who the Mets had at those positions. So to me, I love the Mets offseason. It's a new team, feels different. The roster, I think, is better top to bottom. I think they're a clear winner.
Yeah, it's nice that a team like the Mets, who, again, we're much closer to than most, but they failed miserably last season, and they changed a lot of things. They're like, we need to change a lot of things. There were reports about the clubhouse chemistry. Changed a lot of the guys inside of that room, whether we know that was actually a real problem or not. It seems like it was a bit of one. I think that they're just getting Freddie Peralta on top now lets his rotation have depth, because if these guys were going to be relied upon pitchers after Freddie Peralta, Nolan McLean, Peterson, Clay Holmes, Sean Manaea, Kodai Senga, I don't know what I'm getting from any of those guys.
No,
but
we saw it last year. It's sketchy.
I'm saying now, instead of needing all 4 of those guys to perform, we really just need 2 of those guys to not suck or be injured the whole time. Then we're okay. And then past that, like filling in the depth behind them. I know that Jonah Tong had a bad debut last year, but the guy's an animal. Like he's just a tweak away from still being one of the most exciting young pitchers in the league. Christian Scotto, I think a lot of people are forgetting about, is back from Tommy John surgery. He was like the first of this Mets pitching prospect brigade to come up a few years ago now and be like, oh, we're actually starting to figure something out here. A guy like Jack Wenninger down there. I think it's also officially Wenninger. I saw a German guy in the messed up video reply Wenninger. So I'm going to go with that until we're proven otherwise. Like they just have some dudes now where they have more depth than meets the eye, and it's all because Peralta and McLean should be very trusted on tops. Now we just need the filling guys behind them. This lineup is nasty. It's unbelievably good. It feels different. It looks different, and the bullpen can be very, very, very shaky. But this is a good team, and this team is much better than it was the last game of the season last year. And a sneaky thing about the Mets' improvements this offseason, because it happened before the exodus of players and also way before getting all the new ones, I think they made a lot of really nice coaching moves to start the offseason. Kai Correa is their bench coach. He's lauded as this defensive mastermind. I think he's why they're being a little bit bold and ambitious about how they're aligning defensively this year. Jeff Albert and Troy Snicker. Snicker came from outside the organization. Brian Snicker's son. He was with the Astros for a lot of years. These guys are going to tag team hitting at the major league level, which I think is going to be a great move for them. Just get some new hitting voice in there. If you guys are Mets fans, you know about the voices that left hitting-wise. They also promoted Rafael Fernandez in-house, who was with the team last year as an assistant hitting coach. Or I think he was a minor league.
I think he's going to be first base coach now.
No, Fernandez is the assistant hitting coach now under Snicker, who's under Albert. So there's 3 hitting coaches.
Who's the first base coach?
The first base coach is Gilbert Gomez, who
got him mixed up.
Came from the Cyclones. He was their coach. They also promoted Dan McKinney, who was the Mets AA pitching coach, to be the assistant pitching coach for newly hired Justin Willard, who people love around the league. He worked under Andrew Bailey with the Red Sox from the Driveline Academy that Kyle Body's built over there. Like they did a lot of things very quickly that I think are just going to be able to help this team turn a page, and they desperately need to turn a page.
Pick another one, James. Winner or loser? Where do you want to go?
I only have 1 winner left, so I'll save them. But I have 2 losers left.
All right, give me a loser.
We've been talking NL East. The Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely.
I think they're a loser. I don't think they were exactly a loser based on how the offseason went. I do think they objectively had a good offseason. But the whole problem with the Braves was the problem last year. It was fine. It was a fine offseason. The problem last year and the problem heading into this season was how could you stand up to things going wrong? Where would your depth be? And last year, it destroyed them. And this year, first week of spring training, Spencer Schwellenbach, his fractured elbow from last year did not heal. He looks like he could miss the entire season. At best, he's pitching in the middle of June, at best. And then the guy who was supposed to replace him, though, we felt good about replacing him, Hurston Waldrop, on Sunday, February 15th, elbow discomfort heading for an MRI. Without those 2 guys, now you're rock solid relying on Bryce Elder again for what could be 150 innings, unless you get either Owen Murphy, who's coming off Tommy John surgery of his own in the minor league, stepping up, a Cam Caminiti, a J.R. Ritchie. You are now relying on a minor league pitcher to step in for your rotation. And if anyone else gets hurt, you have no depth behind them. Like they made the same mistakes again. They were active for 1 week the entire offseason, and then they just stopped.
And you could even make an argument that those moves that they were active with, like they got old guys too.
Like fine.
Robert Suarez is an old reliever. Mike Yastrzemski is one of the oldest outfielders that can be playing every single day in Major League Baseball. And then Ha-Seong Kim broke his hand doing whatever he was doing in Korea. Like, they did not address, truthfully, the issues with this team, and that was the depth. They just got names that people had heard of.
Like a team that was going to be a loser of mine, but I think they saved it like literally in the last 48 hours by just going chaos mode with the Padres. Like the Braves needed to do something like with the Braves kind of did that with Martin Perez, and like I think they got another old vet down there once I scroll down this roster resource page. But the Padres being like, yeah, you know, whatever, Herman Marquez, let's start trying to play. Like Tristan
Nick
McKenzie a few months
Castellanos.
Ago. Like let's just get some bodies in here and let's play some ball. 'Cause that's what truthfully the Padres need with such a strong nucleus, but with such poor depth. The Braves, for some reason, have not done similar things with their acquisition of depth, and I just, again, like Carlos Carrasco is going to pitch Major League innings for the Braves this year.
Yeah,
I keep burping. That's really bad.
That's not good. That's very bad. He hasn't been a good pitcher in 4 years.
And this Braves team, it's like you got this core, and they're and sensationally good. And they're locked up for a while, so maybe they don't feel the stress or the pain of it. But like when you have Chris Sale still being Chris Sale, like they're just not pushing the chips in. They spent some more money, so you give them credit for that. But it's just you guys are missing some real pieces here.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think the Braves are playing a dangerous game. They did it last year, and they said, you know what, let's try it again. And Padres, I think, would have been a loser, but because of the ownership situation, I know why it's happening this way. Because, like, yeah, again, their rotation is going to be absolute chaos, and that's what we dogged them for. But that's not really, like, anything that a lot of the Padres can actually control because the ownership's like, we're not spending a single dollar if we can.
No, for sure. And this is a very solid team. People have been like chastising us in the comments for our opinions of the Padres. Not that we think the Padres are going to be bad in any way, shape, or form. It's just that this is like their roster's kind of just bleeding out slowly.
Yes.
Like they keep getting a little bit worse, a little bit worse, a little bit worse every single year, and you just feel like there's impending doom. Like if the Padres this year won 82 games, I wouldn't even be close to surprised.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Right, even if they won 74, I wouldn't be close to surprise. Like they're just
at 74, I might be a little surprised.
Their floor, they just keep letting their floor get lower, and they're not. And again, we know why they're not, but they're not able to fill the gaps in over time. Like it's gonna be German Marquez, Marco Gonzalez, and who's the other crazy one? The second one they got it was German Marquez, Marco Gonzalez, and Tristan McKenzie. Like I just said, just those are the guys. Like,
two guys who haven't been in Major League Baseball in years.
Those guys are all after Randy Vasquez in your rotation, like with JPC years. Like it's you just. Things have to work out for this Padres team for them to be good, but they're not a loser.
You know who I got to put in my winner's circle, right?
I know. I say them for you.
My Pittsburgh Pirates. Come on.
100%.
Love the Pirates offseason. As much as you can love a Pirates offseason.
I was going to say, I still hate it, but I still respect him for it.
Yeah, as much as you can like a Pirates offseason, I like it. Like Brandon, people are bad-mouthing Brandon Lau, and I simply won't have it. I see people saying he doesn't change that lineup. Brandon Lau hits like 30 home runs a year from the second base position. He's a legit awesome power bat from the left side. I think being able to have Ryan O'Hearn in this lineup, another guy who absolutely mashed last year. He's a good hitter. That's a great addition. Even taking a flyer on Justin Garcia, using their depth that they had a ton of in Johan Oviedo. Garcia has crazy range of outcomes, but one of those outcomes is a guy who's going to hit maybe 30 home runs a season at some point. Like that's really intriguing. And then just from the pitching side and the bullpen, everything. I love how this Pirates team looks. A lot of it does bank on Connor Griffin needing to be a Major League Baseball player on opening day. And that doesn't really play into why they're such winners. But all the moves that the Pirates made and the decisions that they made for that organization, how not interesting they've been the last few years, I can at least see a path where the Pirates think that they're getting better. And I like that.
For sure. Did you see the videos of Paul Skeens hanging out by other guys' bullpens?
Yes,
like Jared Jones threw a bullpen. And Jared Jones threw a bullpen. Paul Skeens was over there like cheering him on, like talking about stuff. Like it's nice to see like that kind of leadership growing for a guy like Paul Skeens, some kind of culture building. Also, the Pirates beat reporters have been posting videos about Mason Montgomery stuff, being like, "Whoa,
yeah!" Like that was a low key good pickup,
100%. And that was part of the Brandon Lau trade. Like it was just nice to see that they seem to get more creative this offseason, which is something they've needed to do for a while. And this, at the same time, this might be one of the worst defensive teams in baseball.
Oh, they might not get any outs. You have to pop ups and strikeouts is what they need.
I cannot remember going to a season and looking at a Pirates lineup and being like, "It's pretty good."
Being like, they're like a top 20 lineup.
Could you even just imagine if O'Neal Cruz, if anything
ever figures out how to play baseball consistently for more than a week?
I really hope he does, because I really want to see it happen. But like, if there's a half a step forward, and he found a way in the outfield last season to the point where I think he'll be passable there, if not take another half step forward there again. Which is, if he can just have a .315 on base percentage,
yes,
and hit 35 home runs, like this will be a bona fide playoff team. I think it's highly possible, and I'm excited to watch this team play. I do think there were definitely more avenues for them to do more, but it's nice that they were aggressive, they were creative, and they plugged lots of holes in one offseason.
A few more here, James. Let's see what you got.
I have one loser left.
Okay, so the Pirates were your last winner.
Pirates were my last winner. All five of the winners I listed were named here.
I do still have one more winner to talk about.
All right, so we'll do my loser, and then if you have more, we'll end it. And we'll definitely get your winner, too. Cincinnati Reds.
Loser.
Like, you were involved in the Kyle Schwarber market early in the offseason. You had that money ready to go. You thought you had a chance to sign him. You tried to. And Eugenio Suarez is still a nice pull for them. But you got great young pitching. You have a lot of exciting young talent. And you're just not plugging the holes with enough stable veterans. It's really kind of just disappointing from their perspective why they have not tried to take more steps forward.
Yeah, it's one of those teams where I didn't have them in my loser tab, more so just because I kind of feel no way about them either way. And this is what they've done now for the last 5 years, which is they're going to just keep running out the same players, and they hope that they're 5% better than league average or 5% worse. That's where they live. I like the Eugenio Suarez signing because I think he's one of the few guys on this team that actually does give them a little bit of just like a little punch in that lineup, because we love Ellie, but we need to see Ellie actually take a step forward this year offensively if we want to continue to keep kind of pushing that narrative that like he could be that guy in this organization. But Eugenio Suarez helps with the power. They kind of just had a good starting rotation and bullpen. Like, it's a weird team where they could have gotten better. I'm not saying no. But also at the same time, I don't know where it was. It's just, it does suck that Kyle Schwarber, they apparently were interested in. And then as soon as they didn't get him, they were like, we're good for like 3 months.
Yeah, like the way you weren't actually serious about spending that money unless it was him. It has to be very frustrating. Like it was a strange, like, flirtatious move they did with like, oh yeah, we're involved with Kyle Schwarber, and then it came out that it was because he was local. They thought he could be good for ticket sales. And it's like, guys, like, this is a good team. Like, it's a few steps away from being a great team, and it's like you just really need a lot of projection from young players to make it a great team. But like, I don't know, Terry Francona does magic. Like, maybe he does get
Good
steps
manager,
forward. Maybe get steps forward from lots of these guys, but just. And maybe honestly, maybe Chase Burns is like one of the 15 best pitchers in baseball. Like maybe that just happens. Like that's it. And we've said before in the floor, like the bullpen is pretty deep. Like they've made a lot of low key moves to get that bullpen nice. Like it's just you're like $40 million away. Like 2 real bats for making this team nasty. Like I know you made the Key Brian Hayes move last year, but like I'd love an Alex Bregman in this team. Like, this would be a perfect home for Alex Bregman. It's just
he did 40 home runs there.
You were never seriously involved with anybody really besides Kyle Schwarber. Then Suarez had to fall in your lap for that to happen. It's just, where's the aggression?
I'm going to go a different spot for a loser. This is a team that stinks and didn't do anything this offseason. Minnesota Twins. They should have traded guys. They should have gotten rid of them while they can. I
guess, or signed some.
Yeah, or signed somebody. I think they're playing a dangerous game, which is holding out on Joe Ryan, Pablo Lopez, and now even Byron Buxton, who seems to be a little bit perturbed about what the Twins did in the handling of his trade rumors this offseason. You're in a weird spot now where you might lose any of the leverage that you had of giving just a clean start to the year with these guys. Like Joe Ryan comes out and has struggles in March, or God forbid any of these guys get hurt. Now all of a sudden you have one of the worst lineups in baseball with some of the most injury-prone players in baseball. You lose all your value that you had in these guys. I can't believe that not one of Pablo Lopez or Joe Ryan was not traded this offseason, just knowing that you are not going to win any games. Like this Twins team's going to stink. Why not move on?
Why not trade both of them? But the thing is that they had the reverse situation happen with the Padres, where the Pohlad son that wound up winning and taking over the team, he wants to compete. He wants to try and go to the playoffs. So it's
but
like,
then you didn't make moves.
Well, yeah, that is the deeper problem. But like, at one point, you just have to probably just trade both Ryan and Lopez, and even Bailey Ober too, because you have 2 more years of control, and especially Ryan and Bailey Ober. And I think 3 more years on Pablo, so it's less pressing. I'm gonna double check that for a second right now. No, free agent 2028, 26, 27. Yeah, 3 more years on Pablo Lopez. So again, I never know if the free agent 28 means after 28 season.
Well, what website are you
after
on? Fangraphs?
Fangraphs.
Ah, man, I know on Baseball Reference, if you're a free agent that says 28, 27 is your last year with that team.
Okay, so it's true on Fangraphs as well. So 2 more years of control on all of these guys. So again, maybe you just make those trades at the deadline if you suck in the first half, like that's
will.
fine. That could be. I mean, I don't know. This like really might be like a near 500 team, dude.
Do you think so?
I think that if things break perfectly, they can lose the division by like 6 games.
I don't know about that.
I think you're
how many times are we going to do this with this Twins team?
Because it's still the same nexus where it's like Lopez and Ryan are very good top 2 rotation pitchers, and the top half of their lineup is like okay, kind of.
Is it?
I love Keishel. I'm a big Keishel guy. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, I think you're a little higher on Keishel than what he actually is as a player. I'm not disparaging Luke Keishel, but I don't know if you talk about the top half of the lineup. It's like who cares?
I think this team is much closer to 500 than you're giving them credit for.
They suck, dude. And Rocco Baldelli's such a loser. I know they got rid of him finally, but like this Twins team's got stink on them. This Twins team got stink. They got to change it up.
They're stale. Like they're boring. They're not fun. But like in that division with those 2 starting pitchers, like they can make it a lot further than you realize.
They're closer to the Guardians than they are the Royals.
They're closer to the Guardians than they are the Royals. Maybe bet like a game.
That's my take. They're
they're
closer in town to the Guardians than they are the Royals.
I love the Royals, but all 3 of those teams could finish in any order in this division to me, just based on if one guy rolls an ankle or not, basically.
You had what? One more loser on your list?
I'm done. All by 5 both ways.
You're all done. I think we have to talk about the Orioles. I think they are a winner while also being losers. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I left them off because I was like,
Which I guess is maybe just middle, but like I do
Yeah.
think that they got better, but it's just not the way that I wanted them to get better.
I do love the Bassett signing. I think that was a huge move.
Huge for the floor. Huge for the floor.
Like,
Because
that's
that's
great.
180 innings of at the worst 4.2 ERA.
And you just get him in there. He'll be a good vibe. We know Chris Bassett's a great locker room guy. Like he'll hang out. He'll be nice. But you have to feel a little bit weird about Jackson Holliday with the handmade injury and another Jordan Westbrook oblique, which kind of why I was like alluding to about the Roman Anthony. Like if there's I'm not gonna put any guy in a bucket right now. But like Jordan Westbrook, every single year something gets pulled, something gets strained. Like why does this keep happening, dude? And he's a very important player to the middle of this lineup because like we said a couple of videos ago, his Orioles team is full of outfielders.
Yeah.
They're lacking infielders.
They really are.
It's a strangely built team, and Rubenstein was he's been in the news for the wrong reasons recently as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we'll see what happens. And he still hasn't spent the money, I guess, besides Pete Alonso that you want to spend when your new owner owns the original Magna Carta. But I digress. It's just like they're a very strange team. I don't.
But
know.
also, you're like they could be really good.
They could be amazing, but I
Yeah.
think to me they're blatantly worse than the Yankees. Like the Yankees are a
That's
team.
oh yeah. But the Yankees I didn't rank because it's just the same roster.
Same roster, and they're really good. Like I was talking at my birthday party the other Friday. I was talking to my uncle about it. How he's like kind of frustrated by the offseason. I was like, "Your team's great." He was like, "I know they're great, but you want a little freshness." And I was like, "You're right."
It is dangerous though when you try it again. You only get like one reset button. Try it again.
Yeah,
And the Yankees have used that a couple times. So
but they're not. Again, they can't be considered to me a winner or loser because especially
yes. I wouldn't say loser.
they could definitely be considered the winner. They can't be considered the loser because I think they're blatantly the best team in their own division. And if things break wrong for the Orioles again, it could be the fourth best team. If things break right, they could be the second best team. But I just think they're really taking a shot.
Similarly,
Not,
yeah.
It's the meat. I mean, there is some meat and potatoes still.
I think similarly, while you can make arguments that the Blue Jays and Mariners got better this offseason, I don't know if I'm willing to classify them as winners just because, again, I do think it's a little fragile the way that these rosters are built. And that's what scares me. Like, I love Cease. Cease is great. We've been pumping Cease tires, saying that we like that move. I like Okamoto. I think we might see something really cool happen with him and the David Hopkins school of hitting. But, like, it's a good team and they're good. And I feel the same way about the Mariners. It's a good team and they're good. Like, Brendan Donovan was a nice addition, but we also know, again, that if there's any issue on that roster, it gets a little scary.
Yeah, like the Mariners' other big move this offseason was trading like Harry Ford for Jose Ferrer. Like the Mariners are just solid. I think they're by far the best team in that division.
Agreed.
I think they might be the best team in the American League, but that doesn't really change for how they ended.
Or how I felt about them, yeah.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. And the Blue Jays, to me, is like I almost put them as a loser, but I couldn't because of all of the things that you just said. Like, I think this team is still quite good, but they are a little bit scarier now. But for things that were not super in their control, things like injuries, I think the Jesus Sanchez trade is also hilariously fun for them. Like, the fact that he can just be Anthony Santander this year is nice, and just hit ball far. Like, that's just kind of the whole vibe there. It's just they're solid. I think those teams are all kind of a step behind the Yankees. At least the Blue Jays, the Orioles, step behind the Yankees.
Last one I'm going to just float the question of, because I think we pretty much talk about every team that is important to talk about here. The Giants the Giants were a close loser for me. I don't know how much better of a team they got. I legitimately don't know if they are any better than they were last year. Now you have a full year of Rafael Devers that's going to help, but they got him kind of early. Willie Adames played well in the second half, and that will help because he is a good ball player. But are they just banking on that a little bit too much? Like the rotation's horrible. It's a horrendous rotation. That bullpen might be the worst in baseball.
The bullpen might be the worst in baseball for teams that are trying to win baseball games.
Yes.
The rotation is not good, but I can't tell you it's fully horrible. I
Adrian Hauser.
I mean, Adrian Hauser, you see last year, carnivore diet. That's why his ERA was 2 runs lower than his FIP. But they're another team that they can't stand up to things go wrong. Tyler Mahle was so weird last year because he was awesome through the first 2 months of the season. Then he had like a shoulder impingement or a strain, and there was not an update, and he never came back.
Yeah.
So it's like to be like he's SP3 right now. It's kind of a scary proposition.
This roster feels like it was built by a guy who peaked in the early 2010s.
That's the vibe right now. But like, I don't hate Carson Wisenhunt. I don't hate Blake Tidwell. I don't hate Carson Seymour. I don't hate Hayden Birdsong.
Yeah, they have more of like that. Their 6 through 9 is stronger than like the Diamondbacks, but like also it's not one of the ones that I'd ever. If I was a Giants fan, I wouldn't feel good about this team going into the season.
I feel fine about them though. Like the thing about the Giants, especially where they play and their whole situation, is that
you can just pitch well.
you'll always be able to kind of pitch well, and the hitting well is the thing that's going to be a little bit difficult. So the fact that you can go into the season and be like, you know who the meat of our lineup is? It's Rafael Devers, Willie Adames, Matt Chapman. It's like you're going
that's
to
strong.
like this team will not. I don't think this team will sway much further than 500. But I think someone commented this in our last video when we were talking about them, like agreeing with us, being like, it's just gonna be between 77 wins and 87 wins.
Yeah.
And
87 even feels. I can't even see this team coming close to 87. I see 77 and 83.
If Tyler Mahle makes 25 starts, and one of those AAA pitchers is a tolerable 4, they could get to 86 for sure.
I do just get concerned about Robbie Ray.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, Robbie Ray he's very weird, but I think he'll be good. I think Devers is gonna have a really good year.
Devers is not really a concern of mine. Like Devers, Adames, Chapman, good baseball players. That's a great 3 right there. It's not the best 3, but that's a 3 that if the right pieces around him, you could have a playoff offense. I don't know if the pieces around him are that great, but we'll see.
They're weird, but I couldn't actually say they were a loser.
That's fair. That's fair. I guess maybe just more so from losers of it was they've been involved in every big name the last few free agencies. They didn't get any of them, and I guess maybe that was just Rafael Devers.
They had to trade for a contract that some people in the league didn't really love in Devers, but Devers still a great hitter, and I think he'll be tolerable at first base.
And that's it. Those are our winners and losers. If we left off anybody, let us know in the comments. I'm sure we forgot one team, but I'll be honest, looking at the list, I don't see anybody that seems obvious either way.
I mean, we'll just say the names of every team that never got mentioned in this. Nationals, White Sox. White Sox could be a soft winner.
I can't give a team that's going to win like 65 games winner.
I'll take the over 65. Nationals, White Sox, Cardinals, Angels, Astros. Astros might have won a tiny bit. They signed so many boring pitchers that was what they needed. But like I still think they're
maybe that's the one we can't see the forest for the trees.
Yeah, but this just seemed like kind of a late stage Empire situation right there. We didn't mention the Athletics; they didn't do much, but we think we like them still.
Yeah, I just like the org.
Weird. Yeah, the Rockies. Ugh. That's who we didn't. That's who we didn't mention.
Jose Quintana, that rotation. Just to talk about the Rockies for a second, it is hilarious. Michael Lorenzen, Jose Quintana, Tomoyuki Sugano are going to be like the workhorses with Kyle Freeland. They might give up 40 runs a game in Coors.
I just can't wait for that first 100-degree day when the Dodgers are in town. It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be a absolute massacre. But that's it. Hope you guys liked it. Let us know in the comment section what you're thinking. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy what you're seeing over here. You can follow James on social media at
James Shiano.
I'm Giraffe Neck Mark. Thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.